Okay, welcome back. I'm Ron with OnPoint, and we're going to continue where we left off and go to the next stage of setting up your flight controller. Okay, so our next step is we're going to go in and set up the radio. So we do that, we click on the radio tab, whether you click it on the main big box or on the left hand side, doesn't matter. And the first thing we have to do is go through and do a calibration. Alright, so there's a light blue button over here, it says calibration. You're going to click on it. Now make sure your radio is bound to the receiver, just a separate little video about that, and turned on. Okay, so my radio is on. We know the aircraft is powered up through the USB, so we know it's getting signal. Also, when you look at the radio, you can see there are two buttons, two little icons on here. One says TX, one says RX. If they both are showing some indication of battery strength, that means that they are talking to each other. They're getting signal strength. So we click on calibration. So when we do that, it gives them a couple of instructions. First, it says to zero out all the trims. Now, these radios do have trim settings, but they by default come with no trim settings at 0. So yours should have none. So you shouldn't have to worry about that. Just click OK. Okay, and you're going to want to read the instructions. So right below the button, it says lower the throttle until all sticks are shown in the diagram. So it's looking at the diagram on the right-hand side, and that's where it wants the sticks. Okay. When you have it that way, you click Next. And then it's going to walk you through where it wants you to move that stick. So left stick up, now left stick down, now bottom to the right, now bottom to the left, now down in center, and now the right stick wants you to move far to the right, now all the way to the left, now all the way up, and all the way down. Okay? And move back to the center. Okay? Now it wants you to move every switch on the radio. Now, some of these, if you have them turned on or not, is going to have an impact on whether they work or not. Okay, but flip all the switches. There's wheel switches up here, and there's buttons on the back as well. Unless you don't have them active, they won't do anything. But you want to move all of those. Once you've done that, then you click Next. Okay? Now it says all the settings have been captured. You have to click Next one more time in order to save it to your flight controller. So you click Next, and it's done. Alright, so now as you move the sticks around, you can see on the screen it moves those sliders back and forth. If you move the switches, whichever ones are active, it will show movement. Okay? There you go. Alright. And that is setting up your radio. Okay, so after that's done, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go over and click on the tab that says Flight Modes. Now we're going to do a couple of things here. Okay, so you want to make sure your radio is turned on and you're getting signal strength on both of the battery indicators. One for TX, which is the transmitter, one for RX, which is the receiver. Alright, make sure you have that. Next thing you do, the first button you're going to pull down is the mode channel. It's the top left pull down menu. You want to click that, pull down, and go to select channel 5. Alright, Pixelox uses channel 5, so we're going to use channel 5 for that. Alright. The next you're going to do is go into your radio and set the position switch, your first flight mode, as position mode. Now we've got a separate video on how to set these switches up, but we're using switch number SWC, the far right 3-position switch. Right? So the first position is all the way up. If you look on the screen, you'll see that it says flight mode 1 and it's highlighted in yellow. And right now it says unassigned. What we're going to do is pull down, and the first position we want to select is position mode. Alright? That is where the drone uses GPS, all the stabilization features of the aircraft, so when you pull it off the ground and hover, it will stay in one place. So that's the first mode we're going to select. Alright? And that one's selected. Then when you move the receiver switch down to the next flight mode, number 2, this one we're going to set to mission. And mission is if you're set up and you've loaded an autonomous mission and it's going to fly that particular route. So you put it in the mission position, it will execute whatever mission is preloaded in the aircraft. If you don't have a mission loaded, it's not going to execute a program, obviously. Right? So we've got that, so you go over here, select that one. Then we put the switch all the way down to the 3rd position, go to flight mode number 3, and we're going to set this one as return. Alright? So that's the 3 positions. Now, as you can see when you pull that down, here you have several other flight modes you can select should you want to. You're welcome to do that. The forums will give you information about what each of those are, and correspondingly, if you put in that position, how the aircraft will respond. But for what we're doing with schools, these tend to work out to be the best. All right. So all the way up is position mode, and in the center is mission mode, and all the way down is return. Okay. So those are set. Next, we're going to do is we're going to set one channel as the arm switch. All right. Now we've got channel switch SWD set for arm. I typically will use D or A, either one, as the arm switch. So then what you're going to do is the top right button to the right says arm switch channel. All right, and we're going to set that for this particular one. It is for channel 8 because that's what we've got set in this radio. So now when I flip the arm switch down, it's not going to let me arm it, but it does give you an indication. It highlights in yellow arm switch channel. So it knows that we've got the right channel, and it is set to arm and disarm the aircraft. So that is all correctly set. And that is all we really need to do. There are other positions in there if you want to set a loiter switch, if you want to have a position control switch, and there's others you can do should you want to if you want to use individual switches. But this is the way we like to have the radios set up. And we recommend if you have more than one aircraft, set all of them up the same way. That way if a student used one aircraft or a different aircraft, the switches were all set the same. And that's all there is to do to set up the radio and the flight modes.